All right, we are heading into November, so it's time to talk about the most anticipated games of the month. And yeah, slower month for sure heading into November. But with October being so packed, I'm sure we all got some backlogging to do, some catching up on the backlog to do, and November looks like it'll be a fine month indeed to catch up on the backlog. So yeah, but we still got a few games to talk about here to go over here today in the video. And so how about we hop into it with my top 10, my personal top 10 most anticipated games. Not saying I'm going to play all of these games, but if I had a infinite amount of time and money, these are the 10 games that I think look the most interesting in November. All right, so let's start it off at number 10, and we're going to go with Sorry We're Closed. This is releasing on November 14th to PC for the time being. I hope it comes to console soon. I imagine it will. It's like an old school PS1 inspired horror game, you know, kind of Resident Evil, Silent Hill, the classics. And I love how many of these style of horror games we're getting nowadays, but I don't know. I think this one looks pretty cool. It feels very Suda 51 in a lot of ways. It's very bright. It's very colorful. And it's got cool shit going on. You're seeing the character swap into first person for some of the shooting. There's like 2D side scrolling sections in the trailer. Just looks fresh, man. It looks like something that is inspired obviously by games of old, but it's doing its own thing and trying to come up with a fresh twist in that you know, we're seeing a lot of these PS1 inspired tank based horror games come out nowadays, and this one just it's got a fresh look to it. So wanted to shout it out. Sorry We're Closed, November 14th on PC. And then we have Pharmagia as my number 9. And this is coming to PS5, Switch, and PC on November 1st. You're literally farming monsters in this game. Like, you're just, you know, planting crops, and somehow these crops turn into monsters. And, yeah, they grow into monsters from the soil. It's wonderful. I just once again, talking about originality, I had to shout this out for doing something that is actually interesting, especially within the farming subgenre. You know, I can't say that's a genre I follow too heavily, but from an outsider's perspective, it seems like there are a ton of farming games coming out very, very regularly, and you could just kind of swap any of them out for one another, and I feel like I would never know the difference. And Pharmagia, Pharmasia, however the fuck you say this, at least it looks different. It very much looks like its own thing. It's kind of a like it's an RPG. It's not just a farming game. You have these characters and cutscenes, and there's battles, and all of this shit seems pretty high quality, kind of, you know, classic JRPG inspired in that respect. And then you have the monster farm on top of it. Pokemon meets JRPG, Pokemon meets classic Final Fantasy, or whatever sort of blend you want to throw in there, whatever comparison you want to jot down. But yeah, shout out to it. November 1st, Pharmagia. I'm probably butchering that, but we're doing the best I can. Mirthwood. This is November 6th, releasing only on PC for the time being. This is like a life sim open world RPG. The trailer I watched looked really good. You're roaming around on your horse, you're shooting motherfuckers with bows, and you got like your backstory that you can go through and select, and you got a character creation system and all that good shit that you expect from RPGs. There's decision making in there, and I don't know. When I was looking, I was like, this kind of looks like an indie version of Kingdom Come Deliverance or some shit. It doesn't look bad at all. So number 8, going to Mirthwood, November 6th, releasing only on PC for the time being. And next up, we got Great God Grove. And this is releasing on November 15th for PC, Switch, and Xbox. So once again, I very much like to shout out these games that just jump off the screen, and this is very unique looking. It appears to be an adventure game where I think you are a mail carrier, but the trailer is just so batshit crazy that it's kind of hard to make sense of anything going on, which I appreciate. It just feels like you're hallucinating trying to watch this 1 minute long trailer. But yeah, you got what looks like FMV puppets in here. I assume that's full motion video. Yeah, you got some real humor going on. It's sort of. I hate to always compare anything that looks zany and out there to Psychonauts, but this gives me some Psychonauts energy going on here, some Psychonauts vibes with Great God Grove, and yeah, I'm really curious about this one. And with it not coming to PlayStation, so it's PC, Switch, and Xbox, unless I got that wrong, on November 15th. I wonder if it's going to be on Game Pass. I would assume it would be on PlayStation as well. That seems like that might be one that ends up coming to Game Pass that hasn't been officially announced yet. But I have no insider information on that. It's just kind of that you don't typically see that. So hopefully maybe we'll get a Game Pass bag out of Great God Grove. But November 15th for that title. And then for my sixth entry, my number 6 selection in the most anticipated games of November for me personally is Papertura Craft Edition. This is releasing on November 7th, pretty much to all platforms. So this is one that I'd never heard of, but it actually already released, I think, a couple years ago, if I'm not mistaken. And I went through and I looked at the reviews. They're pretty decent. People were talking about, it's a solid adventure game. And now it's getting a physical release. And it's only available right now through a few retailers. I believe PlayAsia is one of them. So, you at least have a reputable retailer to go through to buy this thing. But it's, like I said, it's an adventure game, but all the environments and the backgrounds and shit are all made out of paper. And supposedly it's like a little 2-hour chill puzzle-based adventure game. And yeah, the only thing here, and I might even drop this down a few slots now that I'm looking at it, it's $40 for that physical release. And I hate to do the, equating hours to price, because you can have an experience that's 4 hours long, 5 hours long, that's one of your favorite games of the year, and to say that it's not worth whatever price if you really enjoyed it, it's hard to really make that assessment, especially some people value their time more, some people value their money more. Everybody's in different spots, but it is kind of one of those things where I'm looking at this, it's $40 for 2 hours. That's a rough sell, but hey, at least it's getting a physical copy, and just the world looks super fucking unique. In at number 5, I'm going to go with I Am Your Beast, coming to iOS on November 19th. I don't love playing games on my phone at all. I really wanted to wait for this thing to come to console, but I've been hearing people talk about I Am Your Beast as like a legit Game of the Year contender. I'm super fucking curious. I loved El Paso Elsewhere, which Strange Scaffold, the developer, they made El Paso Elsewhere. They're also making I Am Your Beast. And yeah, it's just like this first-person John Wick meets super hot styled experience where the agency that you worked for is now after you, and you refuse to do this one last hit job, so they're coming after you, trying to kill you. You're trying to kill them. It just looks really fucking fun. Looks really fun. I wish I could play this on console instead of on the phone, but I don't know. I Am Your Beast coming to iOS on November 19th. I'm hoping before then we'll get an official console release announcement. Number 4 for me, I'm going to go with Flight Sim 2024. And this is releasing November 19th on Xbox and PC. I'd be lying if I said I'm just like pumped beyond belief to play Flight Simulator, but it's going to be on Game Pass. Day one, this is coming to Game Pass, and the fact that it's adding in just some sort of quest line, some sort of objective, I'll probably hop into this thing and at least give it a look. You know, I'm down to jump in there and do some skydiving or do some search and rescue missions or some aerial firefighting. I'm down. I'm down. You know, at least for a couple hours, hop in. It's coming as a part of my Game Pass subscription. I might as well see what this thing has to offer. And then if it's one of those things where I hop in, I'm like, oh shit, this is unbelievably addictive, because that's my experience with Forza Horizon 5. Jumped in and I was like, oh my god, this is so much more addictive than I ever would have imagined. And I ended up playing the game for like 50 hours. So could this Flight Sim 2024 be the Forza Horizon 5 of the year? We shall see. Lego Horizon is coming in at number 3 for me. This is releasing on November 14th. Switch, PS5, and PC are the platforms. Weird. Very weird, in my opinion, to put this on Switch but not PS4. You know, obviously if it can run on the Switch, it can also run on the PS4. And, you know, with that PS4 user base just being so goddamn large and still dwarfing the PlayStation 5 user base, it seems like it probably would have been a smart move to put it on the PlayStation 4 if you're already going to put it on the Switch. But hey, I do think putting it on the Switch is fucking brilliant. You know, exposing Horizon to a younger audience, since, if I'm not mistaken, is Horizon the only single-player PlayStation game that is T-rated? Because Last of Us M, Ghost of Tsushima M, God of War M. I mean, Spider-Man T-rated, but you know what I mean? Like, Spider-Man. Spider-Man and Horizon, the only T-rated single-player Sony first-party games. So getting Horizon, getting more eyeballs on that franchise, I think is really, really smart. But yeah, I do want to play this, and I would have probably never said that if it wasn't for Astrobot. Playing Astrobot earlier this year, what was that? That was September. It wasn't long ago at all. The year's fucking flying by. But yeah, playing through Astrobot, it made me... So I'll just say this. I'll say that playing as other PlayStation characters in Astrobot was really fun. It was really damn fun. And yeah, it made me curious to check out Lego Horizon. And you know what? I'll also say this, is that you can't... Horizon has such a cool world, such cool lore, and if you're still setting traps and, you know, taking down these big robo-dinos bit by bit and using their resources to upgrade your weapons, and like, there's such a fun loop to Horizon. I think that one of the most unappealing parts of Horizon for a lot of people is Aloy, you know, and just the serious tone overall. So kind of reducing that and making this more fun and just looking at how cool the world is of Horizon without all the super serious shit, I think that'll be really appealing to a lot of people. And I love Aloy, love Horizon, love the world, love the serious shit. So I don't necessarily fit into that camp, but I know it seems at least that I'm an outlier, where a lot of people have a lot of complaints with Horizon that I don't personally get, but I don't know. Hey man, if you got a cool ass world like that, might as well utilize it with a Lego game and broaden that, pun intended, horizon. Stalker 2 is releasing on November 20th, and that is going to come in at number 2 on my list here today. I hope I get addicted to this. I hope I just get totally fucking addicted to this shit. I hope I come in here, you know, for my Game of the Year ranking in a couple months. Because that's the thing, I still don't really have a clear front runner. And I hope I come in here in a couple months and I hope this shit just sneaks in and steals the list. You know, I see so much going on here where I'm like, oh dude, that looks cool. Oh, that looks cool. Oh shit, that looks cool. And really the thing to me, the dynamic weather, you know, the fucking tornadoes that can just spawn as you're in the middle of a mission and you're in this shootout, and just that idea of like, oh shit, now I have to go and find shelter, like, immediately. And yeah, I'm in the middle of a shootout, but getting shot is the least of my concerns right now. And yeah, I'll take a bullet in the leg to avoid getting sucked up into this damn tornado. And just some of the natural dynamic weather effects that you're seeing taking place, like just I don't know how much they lean into that. Is it remains to be seen, but I could just imagine, you know, like tracking mud into an environment and then enemies picking up on your whereabouts because they see where you tracked the mud, and they can like go and spot you immediately. Like, I don't know. I hope that it does some cool shit like that with all the weather, the dynamic weather that they're touting and really trying to showcase. And I don't know, just like seeing it, you know, through some of the gameplay where a character's walking around and it just starts raining. Like that shit's so cool. I love shit like that in games. I think there's even dialogue decisions, and you can have some sort of effect on the story. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not like a big stalker head, so you can correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. But I hope this game just sneaks its way high up on my Game of the Year list. Once again, coming to Game Pass day one, so it's going to be one that I check out. Same with Flight Sim. I'll hop in there for, at the very least, Stalker. I'll hop in there for 4 or 5 hours to see if it's for me, and I hope at the end of those 4 or 5 hours, I'm like, yeah. Let me eat this shit up for another 20 or so. And next up on thy list, let's talk about Slitterhead. Coming in at number 1, gotta go with Slitterhead. This is releasing November 8th, and it's coming everywhere except the Switch. And yes, that includes the PlayStation 4. And yes, it shows. And no, I do not care. This is, so it's coming from the lead director behind the original Silent Hill, Kichiro Toyama. I hope I'm Kichiro Toyama. I hope I'm saying that right. I apologize if I'm butchering it. But yeah, Slitterhead kind of seems to be bridging the gap between a lot of his previous work. You know, Silent Hill and Gravity Rush, and then you see some Siren influence in there as well. And the game is, I guess, genre-wise, you would call it a third-person action-adventure horror game, kind of blending in those spaces. But the hook is that the main mechanic is like this super wonky, janky-looking possession mechanic that it just seems batshit crazy. I saw this quote where Toyama said he wanted to numb the player's ethics with Slitterhead. And like one of the core design philosophies behind the game was to make everybody feel disposable. And that like hopping from person to person and using their different skills to defeat, you know, that particular level, the final boss of that level, and then like sacrificing the body to move to the next character, you know, whichever character you find more useful, hopping into their body and then sacrificing the previous character. If like, you know, you're about to die as one character, you as the player can make the sacrifice and leap to a different character and essentially kill the one character you were controlling. A bunch of weird fucked up shit in this game, and all of it is very seemingly crucial to the progression, even to the point where like platforming around, you have to swap in between these different characters and possess their body for a moment to reach your destination. And yeah, I don't know that when I saw that quote of wanting to numb the player's ethics, I was like, yeah, whatever the fuck weird shit y'all are on, sign me up for this. This game could be absolute dog shit, but a new IP that's doing such weird shit and seems only inspired by their own previous work. That's like such a gangster thing where it's like, yeah, we're inspired by us. I love that, man. So yeah, I'm really excited for Slitterhead, and it's any third person action adventure game that comes out, especially in the AA or AAA space, I'm gonna be curious to dive into, and especially any AA or AAA action adventure game in the AAA space that I think I just said that was a little bit redundant there. But yeah, any AA or AAA action adventure game that comes out that's not borrowing from Souls mechanics whatsoever, I'm immediately day one on it. immediately day one on it. So yeah, Slitterhead, I am there day one to check this out on November 8th. So yeah, man, Slitterhead is my number one, but I gotta give some quick honorable mention shout outs before we hop out of the video. Gotta shout out Metro Awakening. I don't have a VR headset as of yet, but that VR lineup's starting to stack up a little bit. I have been very critical of even the idea of VR. Or, you know, not really so much the idea, but the implementation, the software. There just hasn't been anything that's compelled me where I'm like, yo, I gotta go out and buy a VR headset other than Half-Life Alyx. But we're starting to get there where you're seeing Metro Awakening, if that's a big hit. The Arkham Shadows game was a huge hit. Skydance's Behemoth comes out next month, which looks fucking amazing. So yeah, I might be having to pick me up an old MetaQuest 3, and then they had that Asgard's Wrath game that was exclusive. If I'm that was MetaQuest exclusive, if I'm not mistaken, last year, which got glowing one of the best reviewed games of 2023. So I'm thinking about diving into VR if this software continues. Need a couple more on that list, but if Metro Awakening hits, if Skydance's Behemoth game hits, all right, might have to hop into some VR. And let's see, Dragon Quest III HD 2D Remake, that is releasing on November 14th, PC, Switch, PS5, and Xbox. And I also should mention Metro is releasing on November 7th. I'm not a Dragon Quest guy. I've never played any of the games, but yeah, shit looks really good. Mario and Luigi Brothership Switch release only on the 7th of November. And then Rise of the Golden Idol. I need to play Case of the Golden Idol, but yeah, Rise of the Golden Idol. I didn't write the damn release date down for that one. Give me 1 second. Yeah, that's releasing on November 12th. So I still need to play the first game, but yeah, I heard nothing but great things about Case of the Golden Idol, so Rise of the Golden Idol should be excellent as well. So those are the quick honorable mentions. And yeah, let me know what you're diving into in November. Really, for me, November is going to be all about finishing Alan Wake 2, playing Dragon's Age the Veilguard, and hopping in. And you know, there's still some other stuff from October that I want to knock off the backlog. So really, November is going to be a month of cleaning up the backlog and checking out Slitterhead and Stalker 2 and maybe some Horizon Lego and then some of those other titles. But yeah, much lighter month, which I'm not complaining about at all. Let me know in the comments below what you are planning to dive into, and I shall see you good people very, very soon. Goodbye.